When greed and power are at the forefront of your decision making, values and morality take a back seat. And because values and morality have taken a back seat, they can be compromised for the sake of making that extra dollar. Welcome back to the Biblical Conservative channel, where we come against the anti-God, anti-biblical, anti-American, anti-human spirit that's looking to prevail in this land. Please be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can receive the latest notifications as to when videos are posted. And please be sure to like. When you like it, it allows this message to get to a broader audience, because people need to hear the truth. Because Jesus said, if you continue in my word, then you'll know the truth, and truth will set you free. People need to hear truth nowadays. And it's so important that we get this truth in the hands of the people that really need it. In a recent podcast with Reason Magazine, Whole Foods founder and CEO John Mackey expressed dismay at the fact that socialists are taking over and marching through institutions. The alarm that John Mackey has is not unfounded. It has been the plan all along of the Communists and Marxists to have a long, slow march through the institutions of America. This plan is to subvert the country from within by weakening all of the pillars of American society. It started with the efforts of the Frankfurt School and others to impact the educational industry.
But the Frankfurt School was important in Marxism because they no longer believed really in the future. They only believed in destroying capitalism and destroying, bourgeois democracy is what we would have called it. And if you look at today's campuses, that kind of nihilism is really the dominant theme. That is, attack America.
The Frankfurt School was careful never to define what critical theory was for, only what it was against. Again, Martin Jay, the Frankfurt School's semi-official historian.
The critical theory itself always felt reluctant about being put in the straitjacket of systemization and defied its reduction to a simple definition.
Critical theory actually attempted to politicize logic itself. Horkheimer wrote, "Logic is not independent of content. That means an argument is logical if it helps destroy Western culture, illogical if it supports it. Such twisted thought lies at the heart of the political correctness now inculcated into American university students."
Get the children while they are young and poison them against their country, as well as unmoor them, untether them from the social values of their family. Next, it was to introduce debauchery as normal in order to undermine the family even further. It's not a coincidence that free love was the buzzword of the hippies. By undermining the family, it leads to an explosion of unwed births and children born without the important direction and guidance of a father. This further degrades society and communities. Yet, how do corporations and companies play into all of this? How have progressives turned the corporate boardroom into a safe space laboratory? This happens when CEOs and leaders are led by greed and power. When greed and power are at the forefront of your decision making, values and morality take a back seat. When greed and power are at the forefront of your decision making, values and morality take a back seat. And because values and morality have taken a back seat, they can be compromised for the sake of making that extra dollar. Marxists and communists know this. They know the psyche of American businessmen. Most businessmen are averse to any public scrutiny. They do not want anything to possibly damage their bottom line. So when the winds of culture change, most leaders will bow their knee to the prevailing cultural norms. And this is even more prescient when the largest shareholder of the company has its own way of scoring companies. BlackRock, the major shareholder of nearly every Fortune 500 company, is the reason why these companies have gone woke. BlackRock and its ESG scoring methodology strikes fear in the hearts of timid leadership. The C-suite is petrified by having a negative score. Thus, they will acquiesce to any demand placed on them by BlackRock to contribute more to society. It doesn't matter that this societal contribution falls conveniently along the same lines as progressive ideology. Things such as DEI, social justice, environmental justice, reproductive justice are all elements of the ESG score. Leaders desire to be on the good side of BlackRock, so they will bend over backwards to take one for the team. Curious as to who the majority stakeholder is in Disney? BlackRock. Hence, you have the open opposition to the parental rights bill in Florida and Disney execs on video calling for more queer representation. Wondering why Netflix has so much trash in its catalog? BlackRock. Want to know why these companies are now paying for their employees to have abortions? More than likely, they are connected to BlackRock. And this is just the tip of the spear. There are numerous companies that are indebted to BlackRock. Because of this, the companies have lurched further and further to the left, regardless of the fact that their customer base is center right. Socialism is the gateway drug to communism, which is a prelude to authoritarianism. By leveraging the power and influence of corporations, Marxists and progressives intend to force cultural change upon America. This change will ultimately reimagine this country to be what they desire, the utopian states of America. We are not victims. We are empowered for greatness. We must recognize this and do our part to ensure that we spend our dollars where our values are appreciated and respected. We must make sure to spend our dollar, our hard-earned money, with companies that value and appreciate the things that we stand for. Unfortunately, a lot of these companies have bowed their knee to progressive ideology and are afraid to offend BlackRock. But there are some companies out there that are bold. For example, take Paramount Pictures. It refused to take off the Taiwanese flag that was on the back of Tom Cruise's jacket in Top Gun Maverick. And now Top Gun Maverick is the highest grossing film of the year. So there are companies that are bold enough to take a stance and stand up for true American values and not kowtow to China or BlackRock or anybody else. And those are the companies we need to embrace, and those are the companies that we need to spend our money with. Because like I said before, we are not victims. We can't let BlackRock or any of these companies allow us to be victims in our own country. We are not victims. We are empowered for greatness. Thank you so much for liking your comments and subscribing to the channel. Please share this with your friends. Smash that like button, smash the subscription bell, share this with everybody you know. We're trying to make sure people understand that they're not victims, that they are empowered for greatness, and all this stuff that's out here that's telling them otherwise is false and will not benefit them in the end. So please, I appreciate that. Share that.